You said that they, Ransom Center will take Glenn's books.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? Are they going to another library? Or are they going to
Well,
sell
the
them?
trouble is,
Or-
the thing you got to remember is that most of this is books. And they're generic things. There's millions of them print. The vast majority of Howard books are just books. And Glenn didn't put things in Mylar. They're not pristinely preserved. There's nothing special about them. They're just generic, cheap books. And like I said, and he's got, I was ballparking 20,000 volumes in his collection, you know, and most of it's.
Somebody writing down the titles and authors.
Some of the stuff will appear on eBay, or is it all?
Well, it's up to the family. I mean, some of it they may decide to donate. I mean, A&M, you know, even the Harry Ransom said, well, we want his correspondence, Glenn's correspondence, but we don't want just the generic stuff where he's talking to fans or whatever, or email, you know, chatter. We want the good stuff where he's getting a response from C.L. Moore, where he's having a conversation with Clark Ashton about something. That's the stuff we want to see. We don't care about the generic stuff. And so A&M would probably, I know the person that runs the A&M Rare Book Library, and they would probably want some stuff. I just don't know how much, and you know, I don't know. I mean, they got to get it out of there, and they got to do something with it. So they may decide to start burning a chunk of it off on eBay and just move it out. I mean, a lot of it's, you know, generic pulps. Well, you know, they're nice, but they're just pulps, and you know, you can go to Bowling Green and see a hell of a lot more than that. So I don't know. You know, it's up to them. It's their stuff. It's not mine. You know.
I hope they'll notify us with any of that stuff going on eBay. So.
Yeah, I told them if they decide to sell it, they need to let the world know that this is coming out of the Glenn Lord collection, because that'll certainly carry a panache. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The James Allison is supposed to have come. Is that going to have all the fragments and the finished stories?
Depends.
Oh yeah.
It will include everything, yeah. There's a chance that it's going to be combined with some other material too. But,
Depending on how big it may not be big enough to make a real much of a book. It's not a lot of material, so we
But
may
it-
roll it up in something else. But we're
But yeah,
thinking it's going to go
everything
by
will-
itself. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's standard operating procedure for the foundation.
what's that?
Include
you
everything.
get all the stuff, plus the fragments and the notes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the chronology, and here's all the commas that we changed, and here's all the surprise that we took the Z out and put the S in on.
Yep.
You know, it's all documented.
Yep.
Would that include other reincarnation stories that might be?
Well, and that may be and we're not real big on pulling things out of other volumes and putting them back in again. But we, you know, I know we've got a list already preset, and I haven't looked at it in the last 6 months, so I don't remember what's on the list. I'm thinking it's mostly James Allison. Because if you just go generic reincarnation, that pops up in all kinds of stories and all kinds of genres. So I don't know if I want to go to, you know, there's one of the detective stories where the guy is coming to kill Harrison because he thinks he's the reincarnation of some great Arabic fighter, and he's the reincarnation, you know, and it would get kind of far afield, I think. But I don't know. I haven't looked at, like I said, Rob's been doing most of that. He and I sat down and kind of split, you know, the entire stack of 600 plus known stories into all the volumes to start with, and then we've just been kind of working through that stack, and then as new things turn up, we slide something else in there, you know. So, any other?
What's the ultimate plan for the scanned images? You know, on the scanning, is this going to be posted on a website archive?
I don't know yet. I don't know what we're going to do with that, and that's a real interesting question, because you got to understand that one, all that material, a lot of that material is copyrighted, and it ain't by me. You know, so I don't know if I necessarily have a say. I'm just trying to make preservation. I'm just trying to make sure it all gets saved so nothing disappears. That's all I'm trying to do. It's get stuff in a place where if we need to find it, we can find it. As far as I'm concerned, if somebody says, hey, I'm writing a scholarly article about so-and-so, are there any early drafts for this? I can say, yes, there is. Here they are. Have a nice read. And let them go work. And I think for scholarly work, the stuff will be readily available. Or well, hopefully it'll be readily available. But I don't think that we're just going to just mass post it to the world. I don't think that's going to happen. So, but where we fall in there for legal purposes, I just don't know yet, because I'm not the one in control of that. So, right now I got, you know, one big, you know, a couple big places, a couple big backups, and it's all just stored out in space for the time being until we figure out where it's going. So, that is a good question. I mean, we've had that same question. So. Anything else? I turn it over to the good stuff. Paradox.
Well, let's start with the big stuff. You probably have heard about the movie last year. Some of you might actually have gone and seen it. If so, thank you. there was not enough of you. There's no hiding that it was quite a disappointment. It did really well apparently in Russia and fairly good in Spain. But so yeah, I mean, we got the brand out there. It was not the movie we had hoped for. The reasons for it, marketing, timing, etc., etc. We have now got the rights back. Millennium decided last week to not exercise their option for any sequels. So the rights are fully back now with Paradox. So we're just regrouping and
Jay,
yeah.
With the international market, did the movie make its money back? Or did it come really close, or did it?
I mean that depends on the territory. Some territories like Russia probably made a lot of money. The distributor in that area.
I just been overall, did it pay back the production costs?
Well, Millennium got their money, like because they sell the international rights.
Gotcha.
So the ones who are sort of stuck with the numbers in red are the distributors in the markets where it didn't do well.
Okay.
So yeah, we're now regrouping and trying to figure out where to take it next. Should we go TV series? Should we go movie? With which studio? What level of budget? So yeah, I mean, I can't say when any news will be announced, but we're working on it. It's only a week old that we got the rights back. Fred announced last year that we're working on a Swordwoman movie with Christoph Gans attached to direct. That is still going on. A lot of things obviously happen behind the scenes in Hollywood before we can make any announcements. So I can tell you that there is progress. I can't tell you what that progress is. We always have a Culm movie and Vultures in development, different stages of development, and they are still in development in different stages. So I think that's the movie side what we're working on in terms of Robert E. Howard. Then comic book side, there's of course the King Conan. We're doing like these straight adaptations of Phoenix and Scarlet, and yes, we are thinking about Hour of the Dragon. I don't think Dark Horse has announced it yet, but it's very much in our plans to get that happening with the same team.
Perfect.
And there's the Robert E. Howard Savage Sword. We're continuing with that anthology series. We are now going to go into Bran McMorn, Men in the Shadows, and adapting Swordwoman, the actual story, Swordwoman. And I think 2 or 3 issues from now we're going into wolf territory with Wolf's Head and Vilfair, the Forest of Vilfair. And of course, I know a lot of you have questions and opinions about Queen of the Black Hosts, so I can perhaps just open the a little Q&A there. Any questions?
Not about Queen of the Black Coast. I heard like Sam and Vita or somebody like that was taking a change.
Yes, absolutely. I forgot about that. You're absolutely right. Sami Hadida worked with Wandering Star on the first Solomon Kane movie, and now Sami Hadida has taken out the option for a Solomon Kane movie. So
Possibly Purifoy again or anything,
that I don't know. That is also still, it's very early. It's like 3 weeks ago that he actually picked up that thing. So yeah, a Solomon Kane movie is also very much in development right now. And I have heard rumors about there being some kind of limited release on the first Solomon Kane movie in the US. I don't know, I'm not privy to that information, but yeah, all we hear is rumors about that, just as you guys.
One of the Hollywood plays I heard, like, know about a Solomon Kane TV show for like cable.
That's nothing I've heard anything about. So I actually don't know who owns, if TV rights are included in the movie rights. If they're not, then they're ours. So, and we're not developing that at the moment. That I'm sure of.
Now, maybe you could answer the question, as there's a call about what's going to happen to the students of the private schools and as far as access to scholars and Paradox, presumably it has the copyright.
Yeah.
Ones that are still copyrighted, and for all of them, I guess all of that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for For scholarly use, I don't see an issue with it. Of course, if anything is copyrighted, it's not going to be just here, it's on an FTP, anyone can have it. That kind of defeats the copyright.
But it should be easy to watermark a PDF, you know, on every page indicating that, you know, that this is copyrighted material.
Well, it's still out there. You can just email it to anyone, and then they won't buy the book that the foundation will put out, or any other publisher. Because then we're sort of sticking a knife in our own backs.
I can see where that would be an issue, but I can tell you, having looked at some of those typescripts, you would have to be a very dedicated scholar to want to read that instead of a nicely typeset, you know.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense as well. So we have to find some kind of middle ground there.
I trust you guys to come up with an equitable
You could type all of it. 3.5 million.
I'm enjoying Queen of the Black Coast.
Yes, thank you.
Very much, yeah. Read the first all four about the first issue.
Ed?
There was, last year, we were talking about a secret Jason Momoa Howard movie in the works. It wasn't Conan, it was something else he was going to be attached to. Any more news about that?
We had a movie. We were working with him on a movie. It wasn't a Howard movie. And as everything in Hollywood, it's sort of ebb and flow, stop and go. That movie is kind of at a stop sign right now. But who knows? We'll see what happens. We have so many projects in different stages, so that it's impossible to sort of announce that now something's happening, but then the next day we're like, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, all the time in Hollywood.
How's the ancillary stuff going, like the Age of Conan, MMO, and stuff like that? Is there any new inroads being made on that, or any additional support?
I think it was at least within the last year that they went free to play with sort of a premier level that you pay to get full access, and they got like 300,000 new subscribers to it. So I mean, it's still running. They're working continuously with the continuous expansions. There was of course the movie tie-in expansion that you paid for. So you get to see artists and all of those characters.
Yeah.
Are we in the wrong business, my friend?
We have taken a left turn, Paul.
When you say
We are dinosaurs.
300,000, is that people are subscribing to the Premier service, or people who are logged in free to play?
Just signed up for a new account. Not even we are know exactly how many paying subscribers or even sign-ups they have. We just see the number, they sort of the dollar amount they give us, and that's it. We don't see any more information. Yes, Barbara.
What about the poetry book?
I promised to take it to my superiors.
Smooth.
Yes.
Get Fred on speakerphone.
Huh?
Get Fred on speakerphone.
We could do a cheer.
RPGs.
RPGs, yes, there was the Mongoose RPG a couple of years ago, and that license expired, and we felt like there was a need for just kind of an empty market for some time and see where we would take it. So, and I think that time is around now. So we're going to look into now what kind of system we should go into, and that's on my desk. So I'll be working on that the year to come. And for other gamers, if you're into card games, then of course there was the Munchkin little mini pack 15 card game or tie into the movie, and we're launching the full box set of Conan Munchkin this August. But no questions about Queen of the Black Coast?
I got comments.
Yes.
But you already heard my comments.
Yeah. No, I know. I read the forums. Dark Horse, they read the forums, and yeah, some people say that they don't like the appearance of Conan in the comic book. My take on it is that we are adapting a story, and there has to be an artistic freedom to it. I can't just say that this is exactly how Conan should look like. because then no artist would take the job. Like no writer, no artist would ever touch it if we set too rigid a framework for them. So some people like the artwork, some other people love it. This is the best-selling Conan comic ever. I think we've got something like 10 to 12,000 new readers. That's pretty good, I would say.
That was going to be my question. I know the first issue hit like 20,000. So
Yeah.
Have they been holding up?
I mean, they always drop. We'll see how the numbers go, but I think the plan with this whole 2-year arc with Belit is to do sort of 3-issue artist arcs. So there will be different artists doing each 3 issues.
I'm looking for new lots to get
I think that's about it from my side. Any further questions? Yes?
Well, I just have 2 comments.
wanna talk about
And I know that you guys already know this anyway, so it's kind of silly to bring it up, but I just thought I'd bring it up in front of everybody. If you guys were to, say, pursue a cable network style Conan series with the kind of gravitas of, say, the Game of Thrones right now, I think we would all be behind that and would love to see Jason Momoa in that again.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, if something like that comes up and you guys have the option, we would, that's the kind of thing, all we want to see is that the character is treated with respect.
Yeah.
And I think everybody felt that, plot points aside, Jason's great.
Yeah, amen,
And
yeah.
so it would be wonderful to see him with that material that you can see Steve in. And the other thing is, I just want you to realize, if you ever need me to consult, I can be happy. I'm just saying. Pay my airfare and throw me a sandwich, and I'll go spend a day up there and talk everybody's ear off. I've mentioned this so many times.
To continue on that, if there is sort of a misconception that we will almost never have veto over any production of that kind.
Yeah.
We can, if we're lucky, have a good deal of input. But I mean, we're talking Cameron, Spielberg, and Lucas. They have a veto. No one else has a veto. So we worked as much as we could to get as much Howard and Conan-esque sort of feeling to the movie, and you hit the wall, and that's it. Those with the money, those who write the check, they decide at the end of the day.
Well, I noticed like the Egg Rice Pearls people seem to be doing some like reimagining of cars, and letting there's a British series with like Cars of Eco Warrior, and it's kind of playing the modern. They kind of redid the origin a little bit, and there's a book coming out from by a woman, retelling the Tarzan story from Jane's point of view. Any interest in people wanting to do that?
We have no plans. We haven't been approached by any such ideas, and we have no plans to internally start developing that. We're really trying to focus on the sort of the origins, the real Conan from the stories.
Do we want to talk about the forum?
Oh yes, also the forum, Conan.com, which since a couple of years have not been only about Conan, but all of Robert E. Howard. Since it has grown so tremendously and is now perhaps not a scholarly asset, but very much, I mean, there's tremendous amount of information in that forum. We felt that it shouldn't be under CPI, under Paradox, which is a commercial entity. So we have agreed with the foundation to sort of just slide it under the umbrella of the Robert Howard Foundation instead, and we're going to rename it to the REH Forum. There won't be, I mean, there might be some downtime when we have to do some technical changes, but there shouldn't be any changes for you as users.
Who's going to handle that for you guys?
Did I mention we got a secretary?
No, not that I'm on the computer with her. But
They didn't talk to you about
I will still handle some of the technical stuff just like I do now, sort of behind the scenes, but I will do that as a Robert E. Howard Foundation sort of supporter and not as Jay from Paradox.
If we
So
have-
it's not going to be sort of a Paradox run forum anymore.
if we have any volunteers with master's degrees in computer science or something,
Yeah.
we'd be happy to talk
Or a
to
vague
you.
clue of how those forum things
And lots
work.
of spare time.
And lots of
Spare time.
Because those moderators, and that you really put out there, they spend a tremendous amount of time to keep that forum in check, to keep somewhat heated discussions at times in order, and just get rid of the riffraff like spammers and bots and everything. And I hear a lot of comments of how well run the forum is. So do show your appreciation to the moderators when you can, because they definitely deserve it. Yay! Yes.
This is for Rusty. I think last year you said you were working on one more Del Rey novel, a pirate thing or something?
Oh,
No,
see, I misstated that. But that's how plans kind of roll around. We are doing a pirate book. We think it's pretty close to being ready to go. We haven't even started on the art yet, and that's the one we got the art working on. Is that the?
No, the
That's
artwork.
fine.
Yeah, the artwork's supposed to be done by the end of next month.
Okay, so we're a couple months away on it, but it's real close. We also got to do something with Celts and Vikings. And we set aside a book just for that, of just the Celts and Viking stuff. And, gosh, we'd really like to sell that off to somebody else like Subterranean or someone else who can do a little bigger presentation of it, because we think it deserves a bigger presentation than just us. But we're, and so it's in the mix too. We may stall it for a while to see if we can cut a deal with somebody.
Nothing more from Del Rey.
Nothing more from Del Rey. No interest from them.
I'm grateful for what we got.
Yeah.
It was about 4 books more than I thought we were going to get.
Yep.
And I appreciate Jay continuing to come here and keeping the Paradox presence, and thanks for keeping the access open and being transparent with us. I don't know of many other people who own properties that are this forthcoming and candid, and as fans, I know we really appreciate it. So
And
thank you.
enthusiastic.
Good job.
And if you have any comments on what you would like to see in the Robert Howard Savage Sword, email me, email Patrick. We're here. I'm only one email away.
I'll shoot you an email. I'm going to San Diego this year, and I'd love to talk to them. So.
Is Subterranean going to do any of the other already published Del Reys? Like the best of Orange 2 or
They have options for, I believe, not necessarily the Elborak and Swordwoman like the last batch, but they have options for the other ones. They have sort of been behind schedule-wise, so I mean, if they sell out like that, so I'm hoping that they pick up the option.
That's possible.
Yep.